Okay, so this video is going to be a brief overview of how to form the future perfect and the pluperfect tenses in Latin. And we're going to look at both the active and passive forms of the verb. So we'll start off with the pluperfect tense. Now the pluperfect comes from the word plus and perfect. Plus just meaning more, so when you add, you're adding one number and then taking the next number more. And perfect just meaning complete or past. So the pluperfect is just a more past action than other past actions. And in English we use the word had verbed to indicate that it's pluperfect. So HAD is the key word to look for. Now as I mentioned, the pluperfect is going to happen further back in time than another past action. So the only time you'll use the pluperfect is when there's already another past action in the sentence. For example, after I had eaten breakfast, I walked to school. The reason we say had eaten is to show that it's happening before you walk to school. You eat breakfast before you go to school. Since I hadn't slept yesterday, I was exhausted today. Hadn't slept, again, happens before you're exhausted, and hence the pluperfect to show that it's happening before this other action. So, a little recipe for the pluperfect active. Here's an example of a pluperfect active verb, amawirat, which is just she had loved. All you're going to do is take that third principal part, the same one that you used for the perfect active. So you get amawi for amo, amare, amawi, amatus. You're just going to drop the I, add era, which is the form that you use for the imperfect of sum, eram, eras, erat, eramis, eratus, erant. And then you're just going to add the active personal endings. And you're going to end up with amawe ram for the first person singular. And then these will be the rest of the forms. Also, pluperfect is always going to translate as the subject had verbed a direct object. Now we'll transition to the pluperfect passive. So pluperfect passive, an example would be amatus erat, she had been loved, or rather he had been loved, that's a typo. All you're going to do here, take the fourth principal part, so amatus make that fourth principal part agree with the subject, so if the subject is puella, you're going to make the fourth principal part agree with it, so puella amata. You're going to add era, which is again that imperfect of sum, but you're adding it this time not as part of the word, but as a separate word entirely, like you did with the perfect passive. So puella amata era, and then you're going to add the active personal endings to the end of that era form. And again, this is just the imperfect of sum. So these are the forms that you're going to get here. Amatus eram, I had been loved. Amatus eras, you had been loved, etc. The pluperfect passive is always going to translate the subject had been verbed. Okay, let's have a look at future perfect tense. Now the future perfect, again, you're taking a future action and a perfect, which is a complete action, to indicate in the future an action is going to be complete. So you're going to have a past action in the future. So in English we translate that will have. Some quick examples. By tomorrow I will have taken out the trash. So in the future I'm going to do an action and it's going to be done before tomorrow arrives. By 6 p.m. he will have finished his homework. Will have is indicating that at 6 o'clock the homework is going to be completed. Okay, future perfect active recipe. You're just going to take your third principal part. You're going to drop the I, add ero, eris, erit, etc. And then those are just the future of some forms. And then you're going to add the active personal endings. So ero, eris, erit, erimis, eritis, erint. And you'll end up with these forms. This should say at the top future perfect here. This is a typo. So this should be future perfect. And the future perfect is going to be translated the subject will have verbed. I will have loved, you will have loved, he, she, it will have loved, etc. So future perfect passive recipe. This form, this example form, is a little bit of a typo. Amatos erit should be he will have been loved because us is masculine. So you're going to form this by just taking the fourth principal part, amatos, amata, amatum. Make that fourth principal part agree with the subject, so in this case, puella amata. Then you're going to add ero, or the future of sum, as a separate word. So you're going to add ero, eris, erit, erimis, eritis, erunt. In this case, because it's puella amata, you're going to add puella amata erit, because the girl is a she, so you use erit. And so these are the forms of the future perfect passive. The subject will have been verbed. Amatos ero, amatos eris, amatos erit. I will have been loved, you will have been loved, he, she, it will have been loved. This is all on page 43 in your textbook if you want to follow up there. If you have any more questions, feel free to send me an email or ask them at the start of class tomorrow. Thanks.